Hello, it's Kyle, and today I'll be reviewing Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, which is one of my favorite books ever, which I'm sure you can guess by my t-shirt I'm wearing. Absolutely love Fahrenheit 451. Ray Bradbury is one of my favorite authors of all time, and Fahrenheit 451 is just, like I said, easily one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. One of my favorite titles of all time, too, because I love a title of a book when it has a reason and a deeper meaning behind it. And of course, Fahrenheit 451, sorry, I almost dropped the book there, is the temperature at which books burn, according to Ray Bradbury, which is appropriate since Fahrenheit 451 is about book burning and censorship. So, like I said, I enjoy when titles have some sort of meaning like that. I'm sure a lot of people have read Fahrenheit 451, especially a lot of schools. It's some standard reading because it is probably seen as a definitive work on censorship in American literature. So if a school is ever wanting to teach kids about censorship and stuff, usually they have them read Fahrenheit 451. If you haven't read Fahrenheit 451, you're missing something so important. Read it, read it, read it. I can't stress how important it is to read Fahrenheit 451. It's one of those books I think everybody needs to read at least once because of its importance to society. It's cited so often in other works of literature and movies and stuff, but just for its importance on it, the stand it takes on censorship, you need to read Fahrenheit 451. I also want to read a couple items from this book just to explain. The back cover of the edition I have thought had some good basic info in the book, in case you're not familiar with the plot. Guy Montag was a fireman whose job it was to start fires. The system was simple. Everyone understood it. Books were for burning, along with the houses in which they were hidden. Guy Montag enjoyed his job. He had been a fireman for 10 years, and he never questioned the pleasure of the midnight runs, nor the joy of watching pages consumed by flames. He never questioned anything until he met a 17-year-old girl who told him of a past when people were not afraid. Then he met a professor who told him of a future in which people could think, and Guy Montag suddenly realized what he had to do. I think that gives a good basic overview of the plot. Basically, as I'm sure you could guess by the back cover, Guy Montag is the main character. He's a fireman, and this version of a future society, which never give a really exact date, but Guy Montag, like I said, is a fireman, and basically firemen's job is to burn books in the houses which they are found in. In this society, basically all books have been burned as an extreme form of censorship. And as it gets explained through the book, it basically kind of gets to the point where censorship had kind of started when they were taking out lines of books here because they offended some group of people, and eventually it just got more and more extreme. Eventually it got to so censored that literature really meant nothing anymore, and basically all forms of books were just outlawed. At that point, the government began to use censorship to kind of control the population, and that is when firemen's jobs became to burn books in the house which they're found in. So Guy Montag, that's his job, is to burn books. His world begins to well, I guess his view of the world really begins to change when he meets this new girl who's moved into his neighborhood, Clarice. The good way to explain it is Clarice is the first person that Guy Montag ever meets that really, instead of asking what happened, she asks why something happened. You know, why do cars go this speed down the road? You know, why is there crime in society? Why do we burn books? And he never really thought about that before, so she really gets him to start questioning, everything. Why do we do this? Why? Is it really the right thing to do? So that really is the turning point in his life, which I think is a really important lesson for everybody to learn, is when you come across stuff, you should never just accept something for why it is. You should always ask, why? Why do we do this? Question the deeper meaning behind it. If you don't question the why enough, you're just going to be a sheep and a follower. So really, to think for yourself, you need to ask why. I think that's a big lesson to be learned in Fahrenheit 451. Later in the book, he meets a professor, which kind of helps him understand some different forms of literature and stuff that Guy Montag had missed before. And sorry, I skipped a little bit part there. I forgot. At one point, Guy Montag basically begins stealing books from the houses that he's going to burn, and he begins reading them and stuff, and that begins to further question why we are burning books. Why are we censoring them? And that's when he begins to talk with this professor, and he begins to explore this reasons more in depth. I won't go into too much detail of that because then I begin exploring too many plot points and stuff in case you haven't read the book. So Fahrenheit 451, like it's very important with censorship. It has important life lessons to learn, like learning to question why and stuff. So read Fahrenheit 451. It's such a great book. So well written, so important. And I'll close this review by reading this one little segment of the book. And actually the edition I have, they have this segment in the inside front cover. And I just think it's a beautifully passage. It's so well written that I want to read it, and I'll kind of close up my review for Fahrenheit 451. In the beginning, books bombarded Montag's shoulders, his arms, his upturned face. A book landed almost immediately like a white pigeon in his hands, wings fluttering. In the dim, wavering light, the page hung open, and it was like a snowy feather, the words delicately painted thereon. In all the rush and fervor, Montag only had an instant to read a line, but it blazed as if stamped there with fiery steel. And then Montag's hands closed like a mouth, crushed the book with wild devotion. With an insanity of mindlessness to his chest, Montag had done nothing. Nothing. His hand had done it all. His hand, with a brain of its own, with a conscience, and with a curiosity in each strangling finger, had turned thief. Montag knew it was madness, suicide, but it was also a beginning. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I cannot recommend a book more highly than I recommend this book. I hope you'll read it. Thanks for watching the review, and I hope everybody has a great, great day.